Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. I am no fan of R&B singer R. Kelly. As I personally see it, your R. Kelly is a sexual deviant. However, I believe that your R. Kelly is deserving of a fair trial and a fair day in court. And I don't believe that your R. Kelly is getting due process under the law that is supposed to be guaranteed to him under the Fourth and Sixth Amendment. Because when I take a critical examination of the new charges filed against R. Kelly in Chicago in his recent arrest, where he was arrested for federal sex trafficking, child pornography, and obstruction of justice charges, it looks like the criminal justice system is working to railroad R. Kelly in the same way it worked to railroad Bill Cosby. And when I take a further critical examination of what was being done to R. Kelly, I see an attempt to try to deflect people's attention from the recent arrest of Jeffrey Epstein on sex trafficking charges and an effort to try to reframe the narrative of sexual deviancy here in America by making the black man the boogeyman of the story. Because when we take a further examination of your Jeffrey Epstein, who was recently arrested on sex trafficking charges, it looks like there's a major scandal about to blow up where prominent Hollywood celebrities and prominent politicians are on a list of contacts that Jeffrey Epstein had, and many believe were complicit with covering up Jeffrey Epstein's sexual activity with underage girls. So it's looking like there's a major scandal getting ready to brew as related to Jeffrey Epstein, a white male. So what they want to do is then deflect your attention from that white male to take us over back to R. Kelly and then make the black man the boogeyman of the story and make the black man the poster man for sexual deviancy and underage sex with minors. When in actuality, it has oftentimes been many of these white males in areas like Hollywood and Washington and many other parts of American culture who have been participating in sexual deviancy for years. And when it comes down to Hollywood, Hollywood is notorious for sexual deviance, and these sexual deviants participate in a series of numerous sexual deviant acts like your pedophilia and other acts with underage girls, but oftentimes because they have the economic resources, they can buy their way out of a situation where they to avoid a scandal, and what they're trying to do is use their economic resources to deflect attention from a wealthy billionaire like Jeffrey Epstein to put it on a fall guy like R. Kelly, because that's what I believe R. Kelly is being turned into as related to his recent arrest on these federal charges. Is they are making R. Kelly the fall guy, and they want to have a fall guy they can put in prison. And with your R. Kelly financially vulnerable now due to numerous attacks on his income, you had, I believe it was Sony that released your R. Kelly from his contract and kept him from making money. Then you had numerous child support payments that led to R. Kelly getting locked up. So they see that R. Kelly is financially vulnerable, and because your R. Kelly is financially vulnerable, this is why these prosecutors are going after R. Kelly with these federal charges, because they know that R. Kelly does not have the economic resources to defend himself in this situation, and because he cannot defend himself with competent legal counsel, what they want to do is go after him with these federal and state charges and use that as a way to railroad your R. Kelly, because now that he is not in a place economically where he can legally defend himself, this is where the prosecutors know they can have some sort of advantage. And what they want to do is use that advantage to railroad your R. Kelly. And at this point, your R. Kelly is in a situation where, as I see it, your white supremacists want to make him the scapegoat for all of their sexual deviancy, and they want to make him the poster man for sexual deviancy, and they want to make an example of what will happen to a black man who participates in sexual deviancy. And really, they really want to go out of their way to destroy this black man, because this is how your white supremacists get entertainment out of society. They get entertained when they see black men like R. Kelly and Bill Cosby get locked up. And then these same white supremacists then want to find a way to deflect from the attention of the sexual deviancy that white men like Jeffrey Epstein participate in on the regular. So what they want to do is make the black man the bad guy. Meanwhile, they deflect from the white guys. And that's what they have been doing all for the last couple of years with this so-called Me Too movement. It was all about trying to destroy black men. And what happened was, after the Gretchen Carlson settlement with Roger Ailes, white women's hypergamy kicked in, and those white women went and tried to make allegations against white men. And this is one of the other reasons why they are always trying to go after, keep trying to reframe the narrative about black men. But when it comes down to R. Kelly in this situation, I don't have much hope for R. Kelly. Yes, he beat the charges many years ago as related to the child pornography, but when it comes down to this sex trafficking, yeah, I believe it's a sort of a flimsy argument on the sex trafficking charges, because when it comes down to it, if you're going to charge R. Kelly, you also have to charge the mothers of many of those girls, because the mothers of those girls are complicit. Unfortunately, in our gynocentric culture, no one is going to ever talk about how the mothers went out of their way to send their underage girls to R. Kelly, and how they were sex trafficking, because that's not what the mainstream media wants you to see. Because the mainstream media, again, wants you to see this black boogeyman, and they want you to go after the black boogeyman, meanwhile giving a pass to many of these white males who have participated in sexual deviancy on the regular, and they will give the sexual deviant white males a pass because these women get resources from those white males, and many of these big businesses and politicians get money from these white males, and because they're getting money from them, they are willing to be complicit in a covert contract with those white males. But when it comes down to R. Kelly, as I see it at this point, it looks like white supremacy is out to get him, and it looks like they are possibly going to be capable of getting him this time, because he has no real way of defending himself in this case, with a federal case and a state case, and it looks like they're getting ready to try to close the walls in on R. Kelly. And what's scary about this whole R. Kelly situation is that this type of situation can happen to any black man, and any black man can be targeted by it, because if our most prominent black men like Bill Cosby can be railroaded through the criminal justice system, all based on an old allegation from an unethical prosecutor like Kevin Steele, it shows us that still not much has changed about America's criminal justice system from the days of Jim Crow, back when the Scottsboro Boys were railroaded back in the 1930s, and even worse, after that, the days of the Central Park Five, who got railroaded in the 1980s. So most black men out here need to understand that you need to really put some distance between yourself and women. You need to minimize your interactions with women because in this era of Me Too, a black man it can literally lose his safety, his freedom, and he can also and be railroaded through the criminal justice system, all based on an allegation. And the best thing for a black man to do these days to avoid being the boogeyman is to again avoid almost all contact with women and make sure you keep people around you and have cameras going on because if a guy like Cuba Gooding Jr. can be arrested for a sexual assault that did not happen, then the average brother on the street needs to watch himself. Because when I look at what's happening to R. Kelly right here, it shows me that this is all about a deflection and a diversion, and it's all about trying to make the black man the bad guy, while everybody avoids looking at all of the white guys, and it shows that black men cannot do the same things that white men do. And again, you have to keep your head on a swivel because when it comes down to situations like R. Kelly got himself in, what can happen to you is you can engage with one of these women in an interaction, and what she will do is revives the story to make herself out to be a victim, and that will make you into the bad guy because according to America, black men are black brutes, and we're always thinking about lustfully about women, and that's a stereotype that they're using to railroad your R. Kelly in this case. Again, I am no fan of R. Kelly. However, I believe your R. Kelly is deserving of a fair trial. I believe he deserves due process under the law. And when I look at these charges from a critical perspective, and I look at prosecutors' numerous attempts to try to get R. Kelly and numerous smears in the media with R. Kelly, I do not see R. Kelly getting that fair trial and fair due process under the law guaranteed under our 4th and 6th Amendment here. And what I see in the big picture is an attempt to make R. Kelly the bad guy in the picture of everything and make R. Kelly a villain so that your white perverts and sexual deviants can get a pass, so like Jeffrey Epstein, and continue participating in their sexual deviancy while everybody is entertained by the bread and circuses of railroading yet another black man through the criminal justice system and believing they have achieved something and accomplished something, and in the meantime, all you're doing is letting the same continued perverts and sexual deviants on the white side continue going on, and that just shows you how hypocritical America is as related to so-called stopping all of these perverts and sexual deviants, because they'll sit there and give white men a pass, and moreover, they're giving more and more white female teachers a pass for their perverted sexual deviancy, because I don't see anybody talking about bringing up your obstruction of justice charges or sex trafficking charges against someone like Asia Argento, someone who participated in a statutory rape, participated in a cover-up of it, and transferred funds, and all of this evidence is here, but no federal charges or state charges have ever been filed against your Asia Argento, and it shows how gynocentric our criminal justice system is, how racist our criminal justice system is, and how, again, nothing has changed in our criminal justice system as the interpretation of the law since the days of Jim Crow. And because things haven't changed as our criminal justice system has related to Jim Crow, most American black men need to understand that you are behind enemy lines and you need to start creating a protocol for dealing with women, and you need to start creating a protocol for how you carry and conduct yourself out here, because all it takes is one allegation and you can wind up in the exact same place as an R. Kelly. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon or my PayPal by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct Men's Issues books like The Man Crisis, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.